Hello everyone, in this video tutorial I'll be covering virtual teeth. So I'm just using one of my existing projects that I had prepared earlier. You would have had to do your panoramic curve in order to be able to slice through correctly and add in your virtual teeth. It will be a lot easier to, so just make sure that you've done your segmentation of your arches, your segmentations of neighboring teeth if required, and your nerve markings and panoramic curves. Let's begin. So we'll go on to virtual teeth. This particular case has some radiographic context, but let's pretend that they are not there. When you've clicked on virtual teeth under Prepare for Planning, it comes up with the option to draw the teeth curve. Now you'd have to stick with the buccal surfaces of the arch. Just a nice little U shape. Doesn't really matter too much on this side because we're going to be replacing these two areas. If you didn't have the teeth there, you would just have to just straighten this line just across so it's a nice little sort of U shape. Click on Next. Now I'm just going to hide those pontics I did earlier in segmentation. Pretend that they are not there. And the teeth that I'm going to be importing would be, let's say, a premolar and a molar. So these two, I would say they would fit in pretty well in that gap. So I'm going to click on Finish. Don't worry about where it's coming through at the moment. And now we're going to multi-select both of these crowns. So I'm going to select one for now so that they are blue. And then I'm going to hold down Control and click on the other tooth as well so that they're both in blue. That means both of them are selected. And then I'm going to hold on to the gripper and move them into position. This is great if you didn't have the time to get an STL model of the arch and then an additional STL model of a wax-up. You can always just import a library yourself. Now, it's useful that you've got a molar right at the back because at least you know your occlusal plane and you know where you'd need to be in terms of a bite because you don't have an opposing, so you're kind of having to do a bit of a guesswork and just making sure that it's relatively in the same plane. So I think my molar is ever so slightly big. We can just shrink that by holding in that little rectangle. That makes it small. The arrows allow it to move it bodily. And the rotational icons are these lots here. So you can actually rotate the neck and correct it if needed. You need to spend a bit of time to do this, not too much. The main thing that is important is that it is following, one second, I just stretched it instead of moving it to the side. So I just need to move this ever so slightly to the side. The important thing here is that you know where your lingual and buccal envelopes are of your prosthesis. So you would have to look at it from this aspect, making sure that everything is in line. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It's just a guideline to make sure that you are within the right area when you come to angulate the implants. Let's look from all directions. So my premolar is still in blue, so I'm still only adjusting the blue at this moment. I'm going to try and curve the neck so that it kind of falls in line with the root, the canine next to it. Like I said, these do not have to be absolutely perfect. I think this will give you a general idea of where the implants need to be anyways. So from here on, you could go straight on to Plan Implants. and then click on Create and Change an Implant. I wouldn't use the virtual teeth if you've got more than 3 teeth missing, because then you really start to struggle on knowing where your occlusal plane is, on knowing where the crowns need to be from a lingual and buccal aspect on the arch itself. So it's always best to just work with a small span and just replacing just a few minimal teeth that are missing. Anything more than 3 teeth, I would highly recommend getting a laboratory to do a model wax up and then scanning that in STL format, as well as providing an STL of the study cast as it is without any wax up, and then also you can import that into your project. For those stages, please look at video tutorial on Optical Scan. For now, you should be able to go ahead and plan your implants. So for now, let's go back to the main cross-sectional images. You've got your outline of your virtual teeth. Just imagine your CBCT crowns here are not visible. These would be your library, and you can draw in your implants based on those positionings. Okay, make sure that you're not colliding with anything. At the moment it's saying that I'm colliding at 1.97. The default is sitting at 2 millimeters as a safety net. So if you wanted to shorten the implant, you can do so. Let's see what's my limit here. No, it's definitely an 11 mil there. You can either rotate and angulate your implant. That should give you the option to fit it in a little bit better. It also follows the axis of the neighboring tooth. So if anything, you can actually bring that in more. Okay, all it is just spending some time manipulating the implant positioning. You just need to make sure that you're not colliding with the nerves. Take your time in planning the case. If you want, you can follow the axis of the neighboring tooth, or everyone plans differently. So just take the time, maneuver the implants, get them in the right position, plan them accordingly, check them with the restorative library, whether the screw channel is coming out in the occlusal regions, and that way you're preserving the aesthetic regions. Once you're happy with that, you can go along and plan another implant. On implant planning, please view video tutorials on how to place implants.